Marcus Holloway leaned against the cold metal railing of the observation deck aboard Nexus 7, staring out at the dying star in the distance. The swirling nebula around it cast eerie hues of purple and blue across the vastness of space. He'd spent countless hours looking at this view, but today felt different. Today, his life was about to change forever. It was supposed to be a routine business trip, an exchange of technologies between Earth and various alien species. But nothing about the message he'd just received was routine. The message had been delivered in the familiar tone of his late friend, Jolar, a Zarnathi diplomat he'd met years ago during a peace summit. The alien species' elegant features and ancient wisdom had fascinated Marcus, and over time, Jolar became not just a mentor, but a trusted companion. Jolar was the one who had encouraged Marcus to pursue his ventures in the stars. And now, after his untimely death under mysterious circumstances, Marcus was left with an inheritance beyond his wildest imagination. The transmission began with the image of Jolar, his translucent skin glowing faintly in the dim light. The familiar alien smile twisted in a mix of solemnity and resolve. "Marcus," Jolar's voice echoed across the cold silence of the station. "What you are about to receive is more than wealth. It is legacy, power, and responsibility. I trust you will protect it, as you would protect humanity itself." Marcus shook his head, a lump forming in his throat. He had heard rumors of Jolar's passing, but this was something far beyond what he expected. As the hologram continued, Jolar's expression shifted from warmth to something more calculating. "You now stand as the rightful heir to my estate," Jolar continued. "Not only my wealth, but my legacy, my alliances, and most importantly, my wives. Two of the most esteemed women in the galaxy, from species far older and more advanced than your own, are now your responsibility." The transmission flickered for a moment, and Marcus found himself staring at a series of holographic images. Two women, each standing regal and beautiful, yet clearly alien. The first was a towering figure, her silver skin shimmering as she held an ethereal weapon, her eyes glowing a deep violet. The second woman was smaller, but equally striking. Her skin was a deep cerulean, and her dark hair flowed like liquid silk. Her gaze was piercing, but there was an undeniable warmth beneath it. Both of them wore intricate garb, each adorned with jewels that symbolized their species' nobility. Marcus exhaled slowly, overwhelmed. His mind raced. Wives. He hadn't been prepared for this, let alone what it meant to inherit such intimate ties between species. He looked at the hologram again. How was he supposed to navigate this, much less the power and expectations that came with it? Before he could process further, the hologram shifted again, this time to a stark, cold image of Jolar's final message. "I am aware that this inheritance is unusual, and I understand if you feel unprepared." Jolar's voice softened, almost like a father speaking to a son. "But the Zarnathi Empire is relentless. Chancellor Orkash will come for you. He will see this as a challenge to his power. You must act swiftly and decisively. Trust no one outside the family, Marcus." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving Marcus staring at the blank screen, the weight of the message settling on him like a lead blanket. His breath came in shallow gasps as his mind tried to catch up with the implications. Orkash. The name struck a nerve. The Zarnathi Chancellor was one of the most ruthless and calculating figures in the galaxy. If he wanted something, he took it, no matter the cost. Suddenly, a voice broke through the stillness of the deck. "Marcus?" He turned to find Misha, his assistant, standing behind him. The young woman had been with him since his early days of space exploration, and she had always been reliable. Yet, now, the concern in her eyes was unmistakable. "You've seen it, haven't you?" she asked gently, as though she already knew the answer. Marcus nodded, running a hand through his short, dark hair. "Yeah, Misha. I've seen it. and I have no idea what to do now. Are you really going to take this on? Misha's voice held a hint of skepticism, though it was laced with genuine concern. I mean, you're inheriting not just wealth, but two powerful women from species we know next to nothing about. And this Orcash guy, he's not exactly someone you just brush off. I don't have a choice, Marcus said, turning away from the window. This is bigger than me, Misha. This is about something far greater than wealth or power. It's about proving that humanity belongs in this galaxy on equal footing with everyone else. Misha raised an eyebrow. You really believe that? Marcus turned to face her, his expression hardening. I have to. If I don't, humanity will always be the underdog. We'll never rise above being an afterthought in the eyes of the galaxy's powers. Misha didn't say anything for a moment, considering his words. Then she nodded, a smile tugging at the corner of her lips. Well, if you're going to do this, you'll need more than just money and power. You'll need a plan. And if you don't mind me saying so, you might want to start by learning a little more about these women, and maybe the Chancellor Orcash too. Marcus cracked a slight grin. Right. I'll start with the women. As for Orcash, I'll need to find a way to deal with him, but I'm not planning on running. The galaxy won't expect what's coming. Misha chuckled, though there was a nervousness in her eyes. No one ever does. Just remember, Marcus, no one can face the entire galaxy alone. The two of them stood in silence for a moment, the enormity of what lay ahead hanging heavy between them. Then Marcus straightened, his resolve hardening. Let's get to work. As Marcus turned to leave the observation deck, a voice suddenly echoed through the comm system. It was a harsh, metallic tone, unmistakable and cold. Marcus Holloway, it said, you have something that belongs to the Zarnathi Empire, and you will return it before it's too late. Marcus' lips curled into a determined smile. Not a chance, Orcash, he muttered under his breath. The game was on. The corridors of Nexus 7 were quiet, as though the station itself held its breath. Marcus Holloway strode through them, flanked by Misha and a small group of trusted aides, his mind churning with the weight of his new responsibilities. Every step he took seemed to echo louder than the last, the cold metal walls of the station offering no comfort, only a reminder of how alone he was in this war for survival. His thoughts drifted back to the transmission he received. The inheritance was more than just wealth and power. It was a promise, a burden, and a signal to enemies far and wide that the Zarnathi Empire was not to be underestimated. Chancellor Orcash, with his unyielding ambition, had already made his intentions clear. Marcus would either bow to him or be crushed underfoot. You're quiet today, Misha remarked, breaking his thoughts. She walked beside him, her usual sarcasm absent. Her face was serious, eyes sharp. The younger woman had always been more of a practical problem solver, but even she seemed unsettled by the implications of what was happening. I'm thinking, Marcus replied, his voice low. We need to move fast. Orcash won't waste time trying to take what's mine. I'm sure of it. Misha nodded but didn't comment. Instead, she led him to a small, secure briefing room near the heart of the station. Inside, a group of foreign diplomats and mercenaries were already gathered, an eclectic mix of species, each representing a different faction. Some were here out of respect, others out of fear, and a few, Marcus suspected, were motivated by far more sinister intentions. As Marcus entered the room, all eyes turned to him, a silent acknowledgement of the man who had suddenly become a major player in the galactic game. He felt the weight of their stares, but stood tall, shoulders back, determined not to show weakness. Marcus Holloway, one of the diplomats, a short, slender creature with iridescent skin, said with a bow. A pleasure to finally meet you in person. Your reputation precedes you. Marcus smiled tightly, offering a slight nod. Pleasure's mine. Let's skip the formalities. We don't have time for pleasantries. The diplomat, who identified himself as Ola, smiled, seemingly unfazed by the directness of Marcus' approach. Of course. Straight to business. With that, Marcus took a seat at the head of the table, Misha beside him. The others took their places around him, each one carefully choosing where to sit. The room was thick with unspoken tension, each person trying to gauge how far they could push Marcus without provoking an enemy they didn't understand. I've called this meeting to discuss a partnership, Marcus began, his voice clear and strong. I didn't inherit this estate by accident, and I won't let it be taken from me by a single man, no matter how powerful he is. The room remained silent, but the weight of his words seemed to resonate. Finally, a hulking alien with red scales and yellow eyes, the mercenary leader named Krar, leaned forward. What's your plan, human? He growled, his voice like gravel. Or cash won't just roll over. You'll need more than money to deal with him. Marcus met Krar's gaze, unflinching. I'm not relying on money alone. I'm relying on something more important, alliances. His eyes scanned the room. Each of you holds a key. I need you to help me form an alliance, one that will protect humanity's place in this galaxy. Ola, the diplomat, raised an eyebrow. And what's in it for us, Marcus? You're offering us no small risk. Orkash is not a man to be trifled with. If we support you, we're making an enemy of the entire Zarnathi Empire. Marcus smirked, his lips curling slightly. That's exactly why we're doing this. The Zarnathi may be powerful, but they've become complacent. They think they can run this galaxy unchecked, but they're wrong. I'll show them what humanity is capable of. There was a moment of silence before Krar's deep voice broke through. You're asking for our support, human, but you're not offering much in return. I'm offering more than you think, Marcus said, leaning forward, his voice laced with conviction. Humanity is about to change the game. If you back me, you'll have a front-row seat to that change. I'll need your ships, your resources, and your influence. But most of all, I need your trust. Ola glanced at Krar, then nodded. We'll see. But don't think we'll blindly follow you. The stakes are too high. Marcus exhaled, not taking his eyes off Ola. Understood. But time is short. If Orkash thinks I'll just hand over everything Jolar left me, he's in for a rude awakening. The negotiations continued for hours, each moment a delicate dance of persuasion and posturing. Marcus knew this wasn't just about making deals. It was about gaining the respect and trust of factions that had no reason to back a human. His every word, every gesture, had to be calculated. One misstep, and he could lose the little support he had. By the end of the meeting, Marcus had secured tentative agreements from the diplomats and mercenaries. The alliances were fragile, but they were a start. However, there was still one crucial player missing from the equation. The two women Jolar had pledged to him. They had yet to arrive. As the room began to empty, Misha pulled Marcus aside. You did well, she said, her tone a mix of admiration and wariness. But don't think that Orkash won't have spies everywhere. You'll need more than mercenaries and diplomats to stop him. What's your next move? Marcus thought for a moment, then looked at her, a spark of determination lighting in his eyes. We start with the women. Jolar's legacy is more than just money. It's a political statement. If I can gain their trust, we'll have leverage over Orkash. Before Misha could respond, a soft voice interrupted them. It was one of the aides, breathless. Marcus, they've arrived. Marcus turned toward the door, his heart pounding. He had no idea what to expect from Jolar's wives, two powerful women from species that had no love for each other, let alone for a human. But he had no choice. The game had begun. The door slid open with a soft hiss, and Marcus Holloway stood frozen for a moment, his breath catching in his throat. Before him stood two women, each as extraordinary as the transmission had shown him, yet completely different from one another. Their presence was like a force field in the room, filling the space with an undeniable aura of power. The first woman, tall and regal, stepped forward. Her skin shimmered a translucent shade of violet, the faint glow from the space station's lights accentuating her ethereal beauty. Her eyes were dark, the color of a starless night, yet there was something ancient in her gaze, something that spoke of wisdom beyond the reaches of time. She wore flowing robes that cascaded like liquid silk, her movements measured and graceful. Her name, Marcus recalled from the transmission, was Leary. The second woman was smaller, though her presence was no less commanding. Her skin was deep cerulean, and her dark hair was swept back in a crown of intricate braids. The glow from her eyes was a fiery orange, as if burning with an inner light. She had the kind of beauty that was fierce yet unassuming, a kind that could break hearts just as easily as it could command respect. Her name was Naira. The two women exchanged a brief glance, their eyes meeting in a silent understanding before they turned to Marcus. Their expressions were unreadable, and for a split second, Marcus felt a pang of unease. They were both powerful in their own right, yet their presence felt like a challenge to him, a test of his worthiness to inherit what they had once belonged to.
"Mr. Holloway,"
Leary spoke first, her voice smooth, almost melodic.
"I see you've come to claim what is rightfully yours."
Marcus swallowed, the weight of the moment settling in. He had never expected anything like this, an inheritance of not just wealth and power, but the delicate political fabric that had tied these women to Jolar. The Zarnathi Empire was an entity unlike any he had known, and these women, despite their beauty, were not mere ornaments. They were powerful political figures in their own right, their loyalty and alliances worth more than any credits.
"I came here to honor Jolar's wishes,"
Marcus replied, his voice steady, though his heart was racing.
"and to make sure that no one, especially Orkash, can take this from me."
Naira raised an eyebrow, her gaze sharp and calculating.
"You're not afraid of him?"
she asked, her tone skeptical.
"The Zarnathi Empire is not easily challenged. Orkash is a tyrant who crushes his enemies without a second thought. I know who Orkash is,"
Marcus said, his voice low but resolute.
"But I'm not just anyone. I've been to the edge of the galaxy and back. I've seen what humans can do when pushed too far. We don't back down. Ever."
Leary studied him for a moment, her expression still unreadable. Then she spoke again, her voice carrying an edge of approval.
"You're right. Jolar spoke highly of your kind. Your tenacity, your ingenuity. It's why he chose you, why he believed you were the right person for this. I don't want to disappoint him,"
Marcus said, his eyes hardening with resolve.
"And I won't let anyone tear this legacy apart."
Naira took a step forward, her voice steady but laced with an underlying challenge.
"Then prove it. Prove that you are worthy of leading. The galaxy doesn't give respect easily, Marcus. You'll have to earn it, just as we did."
Marcus met her gaze, his mind racing. He knew what she was asking, what they both were asking. It wasn't just about inheriting a title, a fortune, or the luxury of command. It was about showing that humanity had a place among the stars, and that it wasn't going to kneel before anyone.
"Tell me what I need to do,"
Marcus said, the words more of a challenge than a request. Leary nodded, a small but knowing smile curling on her lips.
"First, you must understand the weight of what you've inherited. These ties, these alliances, are not just about you. They extend to the future of your species, to every decision you make. The Zarnathi Empire is watching, and they will not wait forever. I'm aware of that,"
Marcus replied, his tone clipped.
"And I'm not going to let them take what's mine."
Naira turned away from him, walking to the far side of the room, her hands clasped behind her back.
We don't belong to you, Marcus. We are not your possessions, and neither are the wealth and power you now hold. You've inherited a legacy, but with that comes responsibility. We'll help you, but only if you prove that you can lead.
The silence in the room stretched, the air thick with unspoken understanding. Marcus knew she was right. His inheritance wasn't just a gift, it was a burden. He would have to prove that he was worthy of it, not just to the Zarnathi Empire, but to these women as well. Leary stepped forward, breaking the tension.
There's something else you need to understand. We are not the only ones watching. There are factions within the Empire who seek to undermine Orcash's power. They will come to you, offering alliances of their own. But be careful. Not all of them are as honorable as they seem.
Marcus nodded, his mind already working through the possibilities. The Zarnathi Empire was a nest of vipers, each faction with its own agenda. He couldn't trust anyone completely, not yet.
I'll be careful,
he said, more to himself than to them. Naira's fiery eyes glinted in the low light.
Good. Because the next step is yours. We've given you our support, but it's up to you how you use it. The galaxy is vast, Marcus, and Orcash won't hesitate to destroy everything you've worked for.
The words hung in the air like a death sentence, but Marcus didn't flinch. He had already made up his mind. He wouldn't just survive in this galaxy, he would thrive.
I understand, he said, and I will not fail. I will make humanity a force to be reckoned with.
Leary and Naira exchanged a look, and for the first time, Marcus saw something resembling approval in their eyes.
Well then,
Leary said with a slight smile,
let's begin.